Is Bhansali all that he's made out to be, in the sense of this complete mad person who will drive you nuts with his megalomania?
Sanjay lives, breathes, obsesses about the movies and his movies. You get it, right? When you were there, and like the fact that there's a search for perfection that at times seems unnatural, but when you become a director yourself, you get it. You understand why there is that, and I've learned a lot in terms of that search for perfection. So it's not megalomania. It's more just about like you're so immersed in your movie, you're so immersed in the telling of the movie, and in sort of like creating a world and creating a universe that is special, that is unique, that is very typically him, that kind of like drives him, to the search for perfection. It's essentially that.
But did he drive you nuts? I mean, as a boss, he was your first boss. You were like all of freaking.
Drove me nuts because of what I was coming from. Before I worked with him, I was on a show called Disney Club, which was where we shot for a day a week. Right, you had two hosts who would do some activity in the city, out of the city or whatever, in that thing. It's for kids. It used to be on DD Metro on Sunday mornings. So two hosts would go out. You would do a bunch of stuff for kids, whether it's going to the zoo or it's going to the beach or it's going to whatever, Gandhi Bhavan or whatever.
Aao bachcho dikhaye.
So you'll do little 4 segments. You'll shoot that entire sort of stuff. It took me a half day to edit. My director Manu Garge at that point of time was very nice to leave me alone in the edits and saying that, okay, here, just you go do your entire stuff. He came for one day, showed how it's done, and then left me alone. And those are the days of like beta cut to cut. So you had to be very precise with your edits. You couldn't say, oh shit, it's 5 minutes long, let's go cut it. No. You had to know your timing exactly. So it was that stuff mixed with cartoons, mixed with, everything put together in a package. And that was where I cut my teeth in the editing room, and there was there's an editor called Bunty Nagi, who actually now is very big. Worked with him, learned the ropes. But I was in a place where I was at that time making $2,000 an episode, for a day and a half.
Where was this show?
This was on DD Metro.
Oh, got it. There was only DD at the time.
There was only DD at the time. Anyway. I mean, the private channels had come, but still DD had the biggest viewership. The viewership had not caught up anywhere else. So I was making what? I was making $8,000 a month in 1996. As a 19-year-old, I was like, what do I need? It was like, it was a ton of money, for what? And I'm like, I'm not living by myself.
You'd be a popular kid. Like all the kids would hang with you.
2, when suddenly working with Sanjay, you're working, like I said, 25 hours a day, 7 days a week, and suddenly my salary is 2,500 rupees a month. You're transported into this world, which is a bit of a shock in the first place. But then you're also seen, just in the fact that, wow, this guy works really hard, and you have to work really hard. When you saw so much work in the industry, where the general laziness, so there's a chalta hai that kind of happens, which is you can see it in so many movies. The chalta hai has kind of come from, because it's come from the producer and the director, it's also kind of filtered through the actors to everybody. So like even the sound is terrible, the music's terrible, everything's terrible, because there's this big chalta hai attitude that kind of happens. That wasn't the case with Sanjay. So there was a sense of just a finessing and a perfection at every level, whether it be music, whether it be production design, of like looking at sets exactly and colors and this. And I'm like, okay, this is a lot of work that kind of goes into the making of a film. So that, just being pushed into that, and so it's a culture shock when you sort of like come in. You get used to it. You get used to it. You kind of like see it. You go along for the ride. So I think it was maybe the first.
Was he nice to you?
He was great. He's great. He's great because what he does is, if he doesn't trust you, you're not going to be anywhere near him. You know what I mean? You're not going to be anywhere near him. You're not going to be anywhere near the edit room, any of that kind of stuff. But once he trusts you, you're kind of, everything's thrown in your path. Make sure, do this. But also, and then if you show initiative to be able to work, to sit after, and like figure the shit out yourself. Like Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam was edited on a Steenbeck. It was one of the last movies to actually be edited on film. Everything was done on film, right? So you're sitting there and you're learning and figuring stuff out. So again, thrown into the deep end, saying, he's like, I want you to go and match music for that scene. And you're like, I don't know how to do that. But you figure it out. You sit with the assistant editor and like, okay, how do I wind a piece of film on a Steenbeck? And then you learn. And you learn how to do it with sound. You learn how to match music. You learn how to make cuts. You learn how to put tapes, tape joints. You learn how to put that shit together. And that's amazing. That kind of learning is kind of like, it's priceless. I can't pay for that sort of stuff in film school, what I ended up getting.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.